I feel like we're all being kind of careful about this, and I think there's useful stereotyping, useful in terms of our experiences as dancers. I remember reading an interview a few years back with a friend of mine, James Friedgen, and he had a very concise sort of definition. I think he was talking mostly about followers, but it was something like this, that women in North America danced a personal connection that was very cozy. Women in Europe danced a connection that was with the person in front of them that was more sensual. And women in Argentina danced sort of an archetypal connection, where they were the woman and it didn't matter what man was in front of them, they still had the same sense of themselves. And I thought that was a really interesting way to stereotype, but to get at something which I think is useful for us in this situation, which is that people have different priorities when they enter the dance. And whether those priorities have to do with the culture that they grew up in, or with the teacher who they started studying with, or with the DJ in their community, we want different things in the dance. And so we change some of the details according to our priorities.
All right, can you give an example of exactly what somebody does to create a cozy feeling, or a sexual feeling, or an archetypal feeling?
Well, okay, I mean, there's this ribs thing that you were talking about, which I think is an example of that. Maybe not the classic example, but a good example.
And what is that thing?
Well, okay, I'm
the
gonna...
same as the breasts on the table thing?
I think so. Ribs, breasts, you know.
Was nobody else taught to do that?
I think we have to talk about breasts. Hold on.
No, to me, I mean, what you said about the women, or what James said about women, it's true. Like, they feel different in different parts of the world, and I think it also has to do with a cultural idea about what does it mean to be a woman, depending on the culture you live in. Like, what being feminine means in Buenos Aires versus in, I don't know, Russia or anywhere else. And what I found also being a foreigner is that, you know, the role of a woman, or the way you perceive what femininity is about, is very different depending on where you go.
Let's see what the women have to say about that.
And the men?
Men too, let's see.
Okay. Sometimes I say the men, the Latin men, or more the warm men from the warmer countries. I say when they see a woman comes around, they turn with the whole body. If you see a really North European guy, he only turns. So there's a lot of difference in the turning. They have to really look to the follower.
Well, when I first started coming to the States, to festivals about 2 years ago, it dawned on me that, you know, of course, very advanced dancers are versatile and they'll do everything. But dancers who are of a very solid intermediate level or intermediate advanced tended to always turn to the left. And in Montreal, dancers of that level only turn to the right. And I thought about it a lot, and I realized it's because in a lot of places in the United States, they start dancing close, either immediately or very soon after having started. So I did notice also that beginner level guys had a nice contact, a nice frame, much earlier than we would find in Montreal. But because they're holding close, it's easier for them to turn to the left. And they do this turn where the woman, when she goes backside front, the front step has no pivot to it. Do people know what I mean?
Yeah. Would you actually show that, if possible? Show how different turns are made possible by different kinds of...
And then in Montreal, we turn to the right.
The American turn to the left in close embrace. Can you do it in a minute? Starting in a different place? Yeah.
Now, the same turn, if we did it in Montreal, normally would be...
opened up a lot of different ideas to explore further physically with partners and with our small groups. And I want to thank these panels. Thank you so much.